2019, November, paper 3, higher tier. Question number 1. Expand and simplify x plus 5 in brackets times x minus 9. So I would use the method of FOIL. First, outer, inner, and last. First, outer, inner, and last. 4. So the first is x times x, which gives you x squared. Outer, x times 9 gives you minus 9x. Inner, 5 times x, it gives you 5x. And last, 5 times minus 9, it gives you minus 45. Collect the like terms. Minus 9x plus 5x, it gives you minus 4x. So your answer is x squared minus 4x minus 45. Question 1b. Factorize fully 9x squared plus 6x. 9 can be written as 3 times 3, and x squared can be written as x times x. 6 can be written as 3 times 2, and 6x and times the x. To factorize, it means put in brackets. So factorize means put in brackets. So what do we put outside the brackets? That's what we want to find out. So we look at the two terms, the left term and the right term. What do we see that is found in both of them? 3 is found in both terms, and also x. So the 3 and the x go outside the bracket. And what is left in the first term is 3x. And what's left in the second term is 2. So your answer is 3x bracket x plus 2. Question number 2. Use your calculator to work out 29 squared minus 4.6 divided by square root of 35 minus 1.9 cube. First of all, you write down all the figures on your calculator display when you done it. So what you want to do is to put that in your calculator, and I've done it on the right hand side. You can look on the top right there how you put it in the calculator. You will use that fraction button in your calculator like that. You put the numerator and then you put the denominator. And to get the square root sign on the calculator, you have to press shift on the calculator to get that square root sign to put in the denominator. And when you do that, you will get the answer to be 157.668255. Okay. And part B, write your answer to part A correct to 4 significant figures. So you count the first 4 numbers and put a straight line. And the number after on the right side, 6 is bigger than 5. So you change it to 1 and add it to the 6 on the left. 6 plus 1 becomes 7. So your answer is 157.7. Question number 3. The scatter graph shows information about the marks a group of students got in a science test and a maths test. So the marks for the maths test are on the y-axis and the science test on the x-axis. Jamie got a mark of 34 in the science test. Use the scatter graph. Find an estimate for Jamie's marks in the maths test. To do this question, we need to draw a line of best fit. And the line of best fit, LOBF, is drawn in blue there. And you can see the line separates the point. Half of the points are on one side and the other half on the other side. And that gives you the line of best fit. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points on the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the line of best fit is almost perfectly in the middle of all those points. Now we want to work out an estimate for Jamie's marks in the maths test. So we draw a line from 34 straight up to where it meets the graph. and then draw the line to the y-axis. So if I zoom in, you can see there we have 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So we draw a line from 34. When it meets the blue line, we will draw a line that will take us to the y-axis, and it will meet it at 40. So that gives us the mark for the maths test is 40. Question number 4. The table gives information about the times taken in seconds by 18 students to run a race. Work out an estimate for the mean time. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Because we are working out an estimate, we will choose one of the times. The times goes between 5 and 10 seconds, there's 1. Between 10 and 20 seconds, there's 2. 15 and 20 seconds, there's 7. 20 and 25 seconds, there's 8. So between 5 and 10 seconds, we have to choose one of the time. So the best way is to choose a time in the middle. And to choose a time in the middle, we would add 5 and 10 and divide it by 2. So we will add 5 plus 10 divided by 2. That'll give us 7.5. So for between 5 and 10 seconds, we choose 7.5. Between 10 and 15 seconds, we will add 10 plus 15 and divide by 2. Will get us 12.5. Between 15 and 20, we'll get 17.5. And between 20 and 25, we'll get 22.5. Now, we would have the 7.5 seconds and the frequency is 1. So we multiply 7.5 times 1, 7.5. 12.5 times 2, 25. 17.5 times 7, 122.5. And 22.5 times 8, 180. We will find the total for that column on the right there. I've circled it. When you find the total, you add them all up, it gives you 335. And the total frequency is 18. So to find the mean, the way to remember it is the big number divided by the small number. Or you can say 335 divided by 18. In math symbol, you can write it as sum of fx divided by sum of f. That's the formula for it. That will give you the mean. It's 18.61 recurring. And they want the answer to 3 significant figure. So you put a line after the 6, and the number on the right of that red line is 1, is smaller than 5. So you round it to a 0. So you get 18.6. Question number 5. Write 37 centimeters cube in millimeters cube. So if you look at the what I've written there, it's giving you the formula for or the convention scale. We have highlighted centimeters cube in yellow and millimeters cube in yellow. So to change from centimeters cube to millimeters cube, you multiply by 1000. So 37 times 1000 or gives you 37,000. So to change from centimeters cube to millimeters cube, you multiply by 1000. Question number 6. Nima was driving to a hotel. He looked at his sat-nav at 13:30. So time 13:30, distance to destination 65 miles. Nima arrived at the hotel at 14:48. Work out the average speed of the car from 13:30 to 14:48. You must show all your working. To work out the speed of a car, if you look on the right hand side, I've put some formula for working out speed. We use the formula speed is distance divided by time. And you have to remember that for your exams. They don't give you this formula. So the way I remember it is I write speed as sausages, distance, don't, and time, talk. So sausages don't talk. That's the way I remember it. That's my own mnemonic. You can make your own mnemonic or find a way to remember it. And we want to find speed. It's distance divided, we cover S, and it's D divided by T. Now we need to work out the time. Between 1448 and 1330, that means 248 and 1330, is 78 minutes. From 1:30 till 2 o'clock is 30 minutes. And from 2 o'clock to 2:48 is 48 minutes. So 30 plus 48, it gives you 78 minutes. 78 minutes, we want to change it to hours. 60 minutes is 1 hour. So 78 minutes would be 78 divided by 60, and that would give you 1.3 hours. Now we use the formula for speed, distance over time. The distance is 65 miles, and the time, distance is 65 miles, and the time is 1.3 hours. So 65 divided by 1.3 gives you 50 miles per hour. Very important, the answer wants you to put it in miles per hour. So that is why we had to change the time from minutes to hours. Question number 7. Write 32,460,000 in standard form. So to write it in standard form, you will move decimal place. You start from the end of the 0. You move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put the decimal point in front of the first number. That will be 3.246 times 10 to the power of 7. Let me show you how I count it again. You start from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 3.246 times 10 to the power 7. Write 4.96 times 10 to the minus 3 as an ordinary number. To write it as an ordinary number, we have to count. It's 10 to the minus 3. So we move the decimal place 3 places towards the left. 1, 2, 3. And under those arches, we put a 0. So it's 0.0496. Let me count it again. 1, 2, 3. Put the decimal point there and you put a 0 under the arches. So it's 0.04. So it is 0.00496. 0.00496. Asma was asked to compare the following two numbers. A, 6.212 times 10 to the 8, and B, 4.73 times 10 to the 9. She says 6.212 is bigger than 4.73, so A is bigger than B. Is Asma correct? You must give a reason for your answer. Asma is wrong. The answer is no, she's not correct. B is bigger as the power of 10 is bigger. The power of 10 for B is 10 to the 9. The power of 10 for A is 10 to the 8. So B is bigger. Or you can say she is incorrect as 10 to the 8 is smaller than 10 to the 9. So that's your complete answer for question 7. Part A, 3.26246 times 10 to the 7. Part B, 0.00496. And then part C, no, B is bigger as the power of 10 is bigger. The diagram shows a regular pentagon and a parallelogram. Work out the size of the angle marked X. You must show all your working. There are 3 formulae that we're going to use here to help us to do this question. And it's just a reminder of this formula. The first one, if you look at this shape, it looks like a C shape. So this angle Y and this angle X, when you add them up, you get 180 degrees. So you need to remember the X plus Y equals to 180 degrees. These 2 lines are parallel. And this angle is like a C shape. And it's called co-interior angles or allied angles. The 2 add up to 180 degrees. And the next thing, we'll use the sum, the total of the angles inside a regular polygon or pentagon, n minus 2 times 180. N is the number of sides. So you need to remember that. And then also the exterior angle plus the interior angle add up to 180 because that is a straight line. So the angle outside plus angle inside equals to 180. Exterior angle plus interior angle equals to 180. So what we do is we look at, we see that C shape. So 180 minus 117, 180 minus 117, it gives us 63. Now the interior angle of the pentagon, using this formula, n minus 2, n is 5 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So it's 5 minus 2 times 180. And we divide by 5 because there are 5 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. So each angle is 108. 108 degrees each angle. And this one is 108. Now, to get x, the one in yellow, 108 minus 63. 108 minus 63, and that gives x to be 45 degrees. Question number 9. Enlarge triangle A by scale factor 2.5 with the center 0, 1. So if I mark the center 0, 1 there, and we want to, the scale factor is 2.5. That means everything is multiplied by 2.5. So A has this length there 2. So we times that 2 times 2.5. 2.5 is from the scale factor, and that gives us 5. If we take this vertical height there 4, we times that 4 by 2.5 because the 2.5 is the scale factor. So that will give 4 times 2.5, which would give us 10. Now we draw the guidelines. The guidelines there in pink color. That's the first one. It goes through this corner and it goes straight. It goes through this corner, it just goes straight. The guidelines are just there to tell you that the shape will be inside the guidelines. So these lines in pink are called guidelines. And you start from the center of enlargement. So we want to have 5 and 10. So it's 2 there. We want to get 5. So get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you get the third side for free. And that's the enlargement by scale factor 2 with center 0, 1. Question number 10. Solve 9 plus x divided by 7 is equals to 11 minus x. When this says solve, we want to look for the value for x that will make the left-hand side the same like the right-hand side. What number or what value is that x? So we want to put all the x on one side and all the numbers on the other side. Now we got to divide by 7 on the left side. It's divided by 7 on the left. When we take it to the right, it becomes times 7. It's on the left is divided by 7. When it goes to the right, it becomes times 7. So it becomes 7 times 11 minus x. We remove the bracket. 7 times 11 is 77. 7 times minus x is minus 7x. So we have 9 plus x is equals to 77 minus 7x. We want to put all the x to the left. So we take the minus 7x to the left. It becomes plus 7x. And we take the plus 9 to the right. It becomes minus 9. So what we have got is the x are all on the left and the numbers are on the right. So x plus 7x is like 1x plus 7x. 1 plus 7 is 8, gives you 8x. 77 take away 9, 68. Now, what do you times by 8 to get 68? It's times 8. We divide by 8 on both sides. This 8 would cancel, and you have 68 divided by 8, which is 8.5. And that's your value for x. Part B, simplify 4 brackets y plus 3 cube divided by y plus 3 squared. So we can write the numerator as 4 bracket y plus 3 times y plus 3 times y plus 3, because a cube means there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Y plus 3 squared for the denominator. The squared means there's 2 of them. There's 1, 2. Now we want to cancel. So we look at the numerator and the denominator, see what is the same to cancel. So we got a y plus 3 there, one of them, and there's y plus 3. That cancels. We have another y plus 3 and another y plus 3. There's nothing left, so we're left with 4 and y plus 3. So it's 4 bracket y plus 3. Or if you remove the bracket, it's 4 times y is 4y, and 4 times 3 is 12. So 4 brackets y plus 3 or 4y plus 12. So that's your complete answer for question 10. 8.5 and then 4 brackets y plus 3. Question number 11. The probability tree diagram shows the probabilities that Bisma will be late for work on 2 days next week, Monday and Tuesday. Calculate the probability that Bisma will be late on exactly one of the 2 days. So it has to be late once. So it can be late on Monday and not late on Tuesday. Or Bisma not late on Monday and late on Tuesday. That's because he has to be late for at least once. So we now have probability of late on Monday is 0.07 times the probability of not late on Tuesday is 0.98. The next one, probability of not late on Monday is 0.93 times the probability of late on Tuesday is 0.11. After that, we add them up. That will give us 0.1709. Question number 12. The stem and leaf diagram shows information about the height in centimeters of 23 flowers. On the grid, draw a box plot for this information. This is what a box plot looks like. So this is the kind of thing we're going to draw. We're going to have a minimum value, which is the smallest. We're going to have the maximum value, the highest value. We're going to have a lower quartile. We're going to have an upper quartile. We're going to have a median. So the interquartile range is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So that's what we're going to draw and put the numbers. So it's important for you to remember this information. So to draw that, the minimum value is 173. So we put the 173. The maximum value is 219. So mark it there. Lower quartile is 188. The median is 197. The upper quartile is 209. From the stem and leaf diagram, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on one side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on the other side. That's why 197 is the median. 197. And when you take the half of it, You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why 188 is the lower quartile. And you do the same, 209 is the upper quartile. And you can draw the graph with those information, the box and whisker plot. Question number 13. Liquid A and liquid B are mixed together in the ratio 2:13 by volume to make liquid C. Liquid A has density of 1.21 grams per cubic centimeters. Liquid B has density of 1.02 grams per cubic centimeters. A cylindrical container is filled completely with liquid C. The cylinder has radius 3 centimeters and height 25 centimeters. Work out the mass of the liquid in the container. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. You must show all your working. So with this type of question, we're going to be using this formula to find the density, which is mass over volume, and mass is density times volume. Volume is mass over density. So we need to try and remember this formula. We're going to be using it. And the other formula we use is volume of a cylinder, that's a cylinder there, is pi times the radius times the radius times the height. Or volume is pi times radius squared times height. So we're going to be using that formula as well. So what you want to do first is find the volume of C. So we want to find the volume of the cylinder. So it's pi times radius squared times height. The radius is 3 and the height is 25. So the volume is pi times 3 squared times 25. That gives us 706.8583471. Now we find the volume of A or the volume of B. Since A is and B is the ratio 2/2:3, volume of A is 2/2 plus 3, 2 plus 13 is 2:13. So its volume of A is 2, part of A is 2 divided by 2 plus 13 times 706.8. So it's 2/2 plus 13 of 706.8. That gives us, say, 30 pi. We leave it in terms of pi. Now, volume of B is 13 over the total, 2 plus 13 times 706.8. And it's 612.6, or we can leave it as 195 pi. We want to find the mass of C. Mass is given by volume times density from the formula. So the volume is 30 pi. The mass is 30 pi for the volume times density, 1.21. It's equals to 114.03 plus 195 pi times 1.02. That gives you 624.8. So what we are doing here is volume times density and then volume times density. And when you put those together, you will get 739 pi. So something you need to note, volume of A is to volume of B, which is the 2:13. So if you times by 15, you get 30 pi. You times by 15, you get 195 pi. So that's where you got the 30 pi there, and you got the 195 pi there. So you get your answer to be 739 grams. Question number 14. A group of people went to a restaurant. Each person chose one starter and one main course. The starter is a soup or prawns, and the main course is lasagna or curry. The number of people who chose soup is to the number of people who chose prawns is 2:3. Of those who chose soup, the number of people who chose lasagna is to the number of people who chose curry is 5:3. Of those who chose prawns, the number of people who chose lasagna is to the number of people who chose curry is 1:5. What fraction of the people chose curry? You must show how you get your answer. We can put it in a tree diagram form. For soup and prawns, 2 plus 3 is 5. And for the soup is 2 out of 5. For the prawns is 3 out of 5. So we go for lasagna and curry. 5 plus 3 is 8. For the lasagna is 5 out of 8. And for the curry is 3 out of 8. And for those who chose prawns, it's 1 plus 5 will give you 6. So for the lasagna, it's 1 out of 6. And for the curry is 5 out of 6. Now we want to have a fraction. What fraction of people chose curry? So that's curry there in red, that's curry there. So they chose soup and curry, or they choose prawns and curry. So soup and curry is 2 over 5 times 3 over 8 plus prawns and curry 3 over 5 times 5 over 6. So you can choose soup and curry, or you choose prawns and curry. You multiply them first, and then you add them, you get 13 over 20. This is another way to lay it out. You can have soup, prawns, 2:3. When you choose soup, you can either choose lasagna after, or you choose curry. And if you choose prawns, you can choose lasagna after, or you choose curry. So lasagna 5:3. Lasagna for when you choose prawn is 1:5. So this will give us 2 over 5 times 3 over 8 plus 3 over 5 times 5 over 6. And when you add them up, you still get 13 over 20. That's the fraction of people who chose curry. Question 15. Prove algebraically that the sum of the squares of any two consecutive even numbers is always a multiple of 4. So two consecutive even numbers are like 2n and 2n plus 2. Because even when you times by 2 is an even number, because it's a multiple of 2. And when you times by 2 and you add another 2, it's like the next number. So the squares, you square that 2n. So 2n squared plus 2n plus 2 squared, because it says the sum of two consecutive, the first one and the second one. Now 2n squared is the same as 2n times 2n. 2n plus 2 all squared is the same as 2n plus 2 in bracket times 2n plus 2. Now we multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, and n times n is n squared. To multiply the second one, we use FOIL, FOIL, the method. So first, 2n times 2n is 4n squared. That's for F first. Outer O is 2n times 2 is 4n. Inner 2 times 2n is 4n. And last, 2 times 2 is 4. Now we'll collect like terms, the ones which are the same. So I've highlighted the 4n plus 4n. It gives you 8n. 4n squared plus 4n squared will give you 8n squared. And then plus the 4. To show that it's a multiple of 4, 8 is the same as 4 times 2. 8 is the same as 4 times 2. 4 is the same as 4 times 1. If you notice, there's a 4 on each of them. So we can take the 4 out. So there's a 4 there, there's a 4 there, and there's a 4 there. So that 4 is a common factor. And if we take the 4 out, of the bracket, we're left with 2 and n squared plus 2 and n plus 1. So because it's times 4, when you multiply anything by 4, it's a multiple of 4 you get. And this is another way you can do it. You can have 2n squared, and the number before 2n squared is 2n minus 2 squared. And when you expand it, you will get 4 plus n squared plus 4n squared gives you 8n squared minus 8n plus 4. And 4 will come out as a factor. So that means it's a multiple of 4. That's another way to do it. Question number 16. Y is inversely proportional to the square of x. Y is equals to 8 when x equals to 2.5. Find the negative value of x when y is 8 over 9. So we want to find the negative value of x when y is 8 over 9. So we start by writing y is inversely proportional to x squared. We replace the proportional sign with equals to and k. So we write y equals to k over x squared. Substitute the value for y, which is 8, and the value for x, which is 2.5. Now, to solve it for k, is divide by 2.5 squared. If we take it to the other side, it becomes times 2.5 squared. So 8 times 2.5 squared, it gives you 50. So k is 50. Now we can rewrite the equation. We have y is equals to 50 over x squared because k is 50. The second part says if y is 8 over 9, find the negative value for x. So we cross multiply. 8 times x squared is equals to 9 times 50. 9 times 50 divided by 8 will give us x squared. So to get x, we find the square root. The inverse of squared is a square root. So x will be the square root of 9 times 50 over 8, which gives you plus or minus 15 over 2. So that means x is either 7.5 or x is minus 7.5. And we wanted the negative value, so x is minus 7.5. So that's the complete answer for question 16. Change the proportional sign to equals to and k. Substitute the value for y and x and find out the value for k. Substitute the value for y and solve for x. Question number 17. Here is the graph of y equals to x squared minus 3. Use the graph to find estimates for the solutions to the equation x squared minus 2x minus 2 equals to 0. You must show how you get your solutions. The way it works is we can write, first of all, x squared plus 0x, because there was no x in the term, minus 3. And we have x squared minus 2x minus 2. We subtract the two equations. X squared minus x squared is 0. 0 minus minus 2. 0 minus minus 2x becomes minus, and minus become plus. So it becomes 2x. Minus 3 minus minus 2 becomes minus 1. Minus 3 minus minus 2. It becomes minus 3 plus 2, which is minus 1. So minus 3 minus minus 2, it becomes minus 1. So we have 2x minus 1. So what we want to do is we want to plot the graph for y equals to 2x minus 1. Now we'll have to work out some values. We can pick some numbers like 0. Substitute 0 there. So 2 times 0 minus 1 is minus 1. We choose 1. 2 times 1 minus 1 is 1. We put 2. 2 times 2 minus 1 is 3. And 2 times 3 minus 1 is 5. We got these values. We're going to use these values now to plot that straight line. So using those values, you plot the straight line, the green line. And where the green line where the green line meets the curve, you would use that point and move to the x-axis, and you'll get the answer at the x-axis. So the green line meets the curve at this point, and you go to the x-axis, your first answer is 2.7. So if I zoom in, you will see there 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. For the next one, you will see the minus 0.7 when you zoom in. So your two answers would be x is minus 0.7 and x is 2.7. Your answers may be slightly different depending on how accurate or how your graph is, but there's a range of values where your answers has to be inside. So that's how you do question number 17. Question number 18. The diagram shows triangles A, B, C. AB is 3.4 centimeters, AC is 6.2 centimeters, and BC is 6.1 centimeters. D is the point on BC such that size of angle DAC is equal to 2 over 5 times the size of angle BCA. Calculate the length DC. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. You must show all your working. We've got 3 formulae here that we're going to use to do this question. First one is the sine rule. The cosine of the angle is given by b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. And we can use this cosine formula for a triangle. And we're also going to use the sine rule, and we'll pick 2 of them and use together. And we use this idea of cos multiply a times b. A times d is equals to b times c. So you need to remember those things because we're going to be using them to do the question. So for question 18, what we're going to do for the first part is we will look at the triangle ADC. And we would also look at the triangle ABC, the big triangle. So we would have 3.4 squared is equals to 6.1 squared plus 6.2 squared minus 2 times 6.2 times cosine of the angle, and I can call the angle theta. So cos BCA is that angle there, is 6.1 squared plus 6.2 squared minus 3.4 squared over 2 times 6.1, 6.2. We're using this formula there. And that gives us that angle BCA to be 32.08. Now DAC, this angle, on the question it says is 2/5 of this angle. So 2/5 of that 32, 2 times 32.08 divided by 5, it gives you 12.83. So we know this angle, 12.83. So in a triangle, angles add up to 180. So using this triangle, 180 minus 32 and minus 12.8, it will give us 135, which is that angle there. And now we can apply the sine rule. DC over sine 12.83 is equal to 6.2 over sine 135. When you cross multiply, DC times sine 135 is equal to 6.2 times sine 12.8. And you divide by sine 135, you will get DC to be 1.95. So this is what we have got for all of question 18. So DC divided by sine of this angle is equals to 6.2 divided by sine of 135. And from there, you get DC is 1.95. Question number 19. The graph shows information about part of a cyclist's journey. Distance traveled on the y-axis and time in seconds on the x-axis. Work out an estimate of the speed in meters per second of the cyclist at time 6 seconds. We're going to be using this formula to find the gradient. M stands for the gradient. And y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is for the change in the y-axis divided by change in the x-axis, or what you might call the rise divided by the run. So we're going to use that idea to do this question. So what we want to do first is we go at 6 seconds. 6 seconds, we go straight to the graph. We want to do a triangle and try and do a big triangle. And do a triangle where you can read the numbers on the x-axis easily and the y-axis easily. So because we can read those numbers easily, we can work out this length. The rise is 12 divided by the run is 3.4. So 17.5, 17 minus 5 is 12. And 8 minus 4.6, 8 minus 4.6 is 3.4. And the gradient will be 3.5. That's an estimate of the speed, 3.5 meters per second. Question number 20. Here are the first 5 terms of a sequence. -1, 0, 3, 8, 15. Find an expression for the n, find an expression in terms of n for the n term of this sequence. So what we want to do is the first is -1, second 0, third 3, fourth is 8, fifth is 15. We find the first difference, 0. The difference between 0 and -1 is 1. The difference between 0 and 3 is 3. The difference between 0 and 8, 3 and 8 is 5. The next difference is 7. Let's find the second difference. 3 take away 1 is 2. 5 take away 3 is 2. 7 take away 5 is 2. That means it's a quadratic sequence because the second difference is the same. So that's the first difference and that's the second difference. Now we want to find n squared. Now that it's a quadratic, it has to be with a squared. So we want to find n squared. 1 squared is 1 times 1 is 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2 is 4. 3 squared is 3 times 3 is 9. 4 squared is 4 times 4 is 16. 5 squared, 5 times 5, 25. Now we want to find the difference between that and the term. So put the -1 there, the 0 there, the 3 there, 8 and 15. We want to find the difference. What's the difference between 1 and -1? It's 2. 4 take away 0 is 4. 9 take away 3 is 6. 16 take away 8 is 8. 25 take away 15 is 10. And these numbers going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's the 2 times table. And the n term for the 2 times table is 2n. So it's n squared minus 2n. That's the n term. Question number 21. When a buyer's coin is thrown 4 times, the probability of getting 4 heads is 16/81. Work out the probability of getting 4 tails when the coin is thrown 4 times. So probability of getting a head is 16/81. What that means is the first time probability of a head, the second probability of a head, the third time probability of a head, the fourth time probability of a head. You multiply all of them. So that means probability of a head to the power 4. That means 4 times. Now, the inverse of power 4 is the 4th root. So we want to get the 4th root of 16/81. And that gives you 2/3 because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. That's 2 to the 4 is 16. So the 4th root of 16 is 2 and the 4th root of 81 is 3. So the probability of a tail is 1 minus probability of a head. So the probability of a head is 2/3. 1 minus 2/3 is 1/3. But we want to get 4 tails. So we want the probability of a tail the first time, tail the second time, tail the third time, tail the fourth time. So it's 1/3 to the power 4. you can say 1 over 3 times 1 over 3 times 1 over 3 times 1 over 3, which will be 1 over 81. Question number 22. Show that 7x minus 14 over x squared plus 4x minus 12 divided by x minus 6 over x squared x cubed minus 36x simplifies to ax, where a is an integer. We're going to use factoring the difference of two squares. So we're going to use the difference of two squares. A squared minus b squared is equals to a plus b, a minus b. So it's important to remember that. So we write 7x minus 14. We can factorize it as 7 bracket x minus 2. And then x squared plus 4x minus 12, we can write it as x minus 2, x plus 6, factorizing. And then x cubed minus 36x, we can write it as x bracket x squared minus 36. And we can factorize 36, x squared minus 36 as well. 36 is the same as x 6 squared. So x squared minus 6 squared is the same as x minus 6, x plus 6, using the difference of two squares. So x squared minus 6 squared is the same as x plus 6, x minus 6. Now, after we factorize all the terms, we can write them out and cancel afterwards. So 7x minus 14, we write it like this, 7 bracket x minus 2. X squared plus 4x minus 12, we write it as x minus 2, x plus 6. X cubed minus 36x, we write it as x bracket x minus 6, x plus 6. And x minus 6 stays the same, x minus 6. We change the divide, to a times and flip the fraction. So that's why the x cubed minus 36 goes to the top and the x minus 6 comes below, because we change the divide to a times and flip the fraction. Now we look at the numerator and the denominator and cross out what is the same. There's x minus 2 at the top and x minus 2 at the bottom, so we cross them out. There's x plus 6 at the top, x plus 6 at the bottom, so we cross it out. There's x minus 6 at the top and x minus 6 at the bottom, we cross them out. So we are left with 7 and x, which is 7x, and that's your answer.